Shalom, Shalom, family. It's your brother Eliezer with New Wine Congregation of Israel. And real quick, through the Spirit, I want to speak on why it's imperative that we confess our faults, not only to the Lord, but one to another, that we may begin to be healed. Because the thing is, when you hold faults in and not confess those things, that sin or that fault will ultimately become your ruin, because nobody knows, right? And nobody can pray for you that you may be healed. So let's take a look at confessing our faults to one another that we may be healed. Let's start in the book of James chapter 5 and verse 16. It say, confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that ye may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much, right? So when you confess your sin or your fault to a righteous brother or sister and they pray for you, you begin your healing process, right? Let's prove that. Let's get Sirach chapter 20 and verse 2 real quick. When you confess your faults to one another, you begin to be healed. Right? It say it is much better to be reproved than to be angry secretly. And he that confesses his fault shall be preserved from hurt. Right? Because 9 times out of 10, when you confess your fault to a brother, a righteous brother or sister, they're going to reprove you, right? And it's better for them to reprove you than to be angry secretly. And it say, he that confesses his fault shall be preserved from hurt, right? Because the fervent prayers of a righteous man availeth much. You're going to be preserved from hurt from the Lord and also self-inflicted hurt. You know what I'm saying? So when you confess your fault to a brother, you relieve yourself of that burden because they take on that burden with you. Let's prove it. Let's get Galatians chapter 6 and verse 2. The book of Galatians chapter 6 and verse 2, it say, bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Hamashiach. So it's imperative that we have people around us that's not only going to just bear our burdens, right, but reprove and correct you, right, in truth and love. And they're going to hold you accountable, right? And if accountability is something that you can't grasp or embrace, then that thing that you ultimately can't confess will end up being your ruin. Right? For one, like I said, because nobody knows. And for two, because the Lord said so, right? Which is really number one. But let's prove that, all right? Let's get Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 13. The book of Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 13. It say, he that covereth his sin shall not prosper, but whoso confess it and forsake them shall have mercy. You know what I'm saying? So confess that thing and let it go. Don't try to hide something, because the Lord will reveal that thing. Let's prove it. Right? And I'm speaking by experience. It's better for you to just confess your faults and avoid the shame and hurt. Right? We all go through things. The book of Luke chapter 12 and verse 2. It say, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known, right? So just save yourself, you know what I'm saying? Save yourself the hurt and the shame, right? Go to Sirach chapter 39 and verse 19. All right. It says the works of all flesh are before him, and nothing can be hid from his eyes. So as long as the Lord knows, right, he can, if he choose to expose that thing and to make it known, because you not confessing this fault, right? So just confess that thing and let it go. Let's go to 1 John 1 and 9. The book of 1 John chapter 1 and verse 9, it say, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness, right? So if we be faithful in confessing, the Lord is going to help us, cleanse us, and heal us. Let's get Sirach chapter 4, verse 26. The book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 26, it say, be not ashamed to confess thy sins and force not the course of river. You know what I'm saying? So just go ahead and confess that thing to a brother or sister and get yourself healed. You know, that's the only way, and that's the first step for you to be healed. Confess that thing and let it go. But with that, I say shalom.